Welcome everybody. Let's take a look what's happening in the market. First, going to look at the Dow Jones Transportation, and it's made its way up here. You can see we're just about to go positive momentum on the MACD here. The vanilla line is probably going to get above it tomorrow. Looking at the daily chart here. So this would be where we're looking at, right up in this area, about 15,800 approximately. 15,563 we'll call it. So if it doesn't get above this anywhere in this cycle here, like if it just gets up here and dies, maybe up like that and dies, then I would expect the next cycle to probably still be weak. Okay, so we'll keep an eye on this cycle. So far, still looks weak, but momentum's starting to really get some steam, as they say here, and maybe it'll go a little. Maybe it will go higher. This is trying to roll over, but it hasn't really yet. So even though we have a nice little rising phase, which is amazing, it's right on this arc, which that doesn't mean anything. It just happens to be following this arc. But this so far kind of looks like an ideal cycle, right up in the middle. Probably going to pull back somewhere in there, and then may have a little bounce again and then down. Okay, so the DJT, the Dow Jones Transportation, still kind of looking like, even though it's got a nice bounce going on, overall it's weaker than the previous cycle far as where its peak is. Okay, let's look at the Russell 2000. So the high was over here, still got that, kind of like that. Today was a little bit of a down day here. It's kind of a smallish day with a range of only, let's call it 14. And of course tomorrow is Independence Day, and I think the futures, I think most of the products stopped trading at 12 today, if I remember right. But in any case, I think they reopen tonight at 5, then close at noon tomorrow on July 4th, and then reopen at 5 tomorrow, something like that. Okay, obviously this stock market, I'm pretty sure, is closed tomorrow, Independence Day here in the United States of America, so today's an off day. So July 8th here, cycle low. Well, it could have already happened back here. Okay, could have happened already. But not, obviously today's the 3rd. There's only 5 calendar days left. There might be a little bit. As far as momentum goes on the daily chart, it's still negative here. SMI kind of pointing down. If this is all this does, then look for more decline. But sometimes you'll get that little boom and then it'll go up again. Sometimes that happens. But this so far is pretty weak. Like if this is as high as it's going to get below this line, if it really does start to curl over like this and come down, and this price starts coming down, then that would be pretty weak bounce right here. This would be a very weak bounce, which would mean there's a little bit more left in this cycle. The 2-hour chart, which is the 2-hour directional chart that we use, that I use, and that some of the members use, and is included in the nightly emails to the members. So if you want to become a member, stick around to the end of the video and I'll show you how to do that. But that 2-hour directional chart for the Russell 2000, it's in positive territory momentum-wise, and also the 2-hour directional indicator that I have in that chart is green. It went from red to green like about let's see, 1, 2, 3, 4, about 4 sessions ago. So that's been green for about 4 trading days. So really short term, the Russell 2000 has a slightly bullish thing going on. Here on the daily, it's still bearish. So we'll see if that 2-hour translates into the daily chart getting bullish too, but it hasn't so far. So up to this point, my analysis both on the Dow Jones Transportation, the Russell 2000, is they're still looking kind of weak, right? They're still not. I'm not convinced that they're done bottoming yet. Okay, there could be a little bit more left in there. All right, let's take a look at the S&P 500 futures. Now we look at the Dow Jones Transportation and the Russell 2000 because a lot of times, as I've mentioned before, it'll help you it can help in forecasting some of the other indices on where they might head. Okay, it doesn't always work that way, but it's still useful to look at it. Now, the S&P 500, let me get the daily cycle on here. Cycle lower here for July 11th, but the S&P 500 has been very strong. I mean, it just continues to be a monster mash. This thing is mashing it. I mean, look down here. This is the zero line for the momentum on the MACD. We're way up here, way up there. Okay, it's like, forget about this, super high. Okay, and you can tell this is very bullish when you have this type of thing that doesn't even reach to the bottom of the SMI, Stochastic Momentum Index, doesn't even reach the bottom, starts turning, going up. That's very bullish. When I see this kind of choppy stuff going on, it just chops sideways. And there's a cycle low that's due soon. A lot of times that's a very bullish signal. Especially when it's coupled with this going on. Now, the last 2 days, you can see that the S&P 500 is kind of re-engaged, and it's making a bounce here, basically up to almost 5,600 here today. Got up to 55.96, we'll call it. I made a little $50 today trading the S&P 500. Yeah, I know, $50, but still, it was money in the pocket. I was just kind of busy doing some other stuff, and I cut a position loose because the market was moving in a kind of a weird way. So made my $50, whatever. Nothing to write home about, as they say. But it's still positive money, so that's okay. So the S&P 500 looks bullish. Will there be anything at all here? There could be. There could be one little dippy do, and then, who knows what's going to do going out this way. But we'll have to keep an eye on this. But so far, the S&P 500, man, looks very strong to me, guys. If this right here is as low as this was going to get during this entire cycle, that is like so bullish. All right. But like I said, the other indices, the Dow Jones Transportation Average and the Russell 2000, they still look weak, and that could bleed into other indexes, but it hasn't so far. Okay, let me take just a quick peek at the weekly chart here. Okay. Yeah, here, even on the weekly chart, look at this massive bullish, very bullish. MACD beginning to go up again, widening out, looking like it wants to go higher. The SMI is pointing higher. Yeah, you can tell this SMI can just ride for weeks, months even, just sit there, ride right up here above this red line and just keep going. Right? Look at this. It's done it many times. Over here, same thing. Right? So now that we're above it, this could go on for a long time. But this is noteworthy. MACD at 186. I mentioned this the other day. On the weekly chart, this I think is the second or third highest reading on the weekly chart for the S&P 500. I think since the beginning of the S&P 500, going back all the way to the 1980s. Okay, so this is extremely overheated S&P 500. I mean, this thing is overbought, doesn't even begin to express for the S&P 500. It is in the stratosphere. Okay, at some point, the S&P 500 is going to crash, guys. When? I have no idea. It might be way over here in 2025, 2026. That's, by the way, is a big solar cycle decline. I would not be surprised the market follow the solar cycle. I know, sounds crazy. But don't be surprised if we see a big, massive decline at some point somewhere here. And I mean like 20, 30% loss in the market. Because, sustainable? Yeah, I've talked about this many times before. We got nearly $35 trillion in national debt. Guys, that's just runaway banana republic stuff. Period. There's no other way to put it. This will never, ever be paid off. Ain't going to happen. America will never pay it off because warmongers and greedy people and criminals, both in the U.S. House of Representatives, the Senate, the White House, bureaucrats, other really shady Marxist, leftist kind of actors, you name it. And I mean, even talk about the rhinos. Okay, Democrats, Marxists, rhinos, they're all some seriously shady people. Speaker of the House, Mike Johnson, that guy is a total loser. Sorry, just going to say it like it is. And I'm a conservative, and I don't even like that guy. I mean, he handed trillions of dollars over the Democrats multiple times on budget deals. I mean, whatever. These people have no regard for America. None. They just don't care. And this national debt is absolutely crushing America. And what I think a lot of people think that when they see the S&P 500 like this and the NASDAQ going really high to the moon, they think it's a good thing. They just don't understand a runaway economy. This is a reflection of really where I said this before. There's this phrase called hyperinflation. We're not quite there yet. I'm going to call it superinflation. We're right on the edge. Okay, we're not just inflationary. We're superinflation, and don't let the clowns in the White House, I don't care if it's Biden or Trump or any other president, don't let them fool you about the inflation thing and how they always suppress these numbers, and they try to fool everybody with CPI data and the unemployment data and all that. Dude, guys, they cooked those numbers. I remember Obama when he was in office, he cooked the crap out of the employment numbers. If anybody worked even 8 hours a week part-time, he'd say employment's good. A total loser. Always lying. I mean, all these people, man. I mean, that's just what politicians do. They just lie. It's like in their nature to lie. They do it all the time. They set these horrible policies. Okay, massive illegal immigration. So all the taxpayers in America are footing the bill for probably 10 million people have come across the border since Biden's been in the White House. So that's just the tip of the iceberg of the problems in the United States of America. This debt and just the interest payments on the debt that alone is almost insurmountable. The debt itself is absolutely insurmountable. It'll never be paid. And so when you see stock markets that just keep going up, that doesn't mean it's healthy. See, there's this premise that up is good and down is bad. And that is such a flawed premise. I can't even begin to tell you how flawed that is. Okay, just going up forever just means you're on fire, right? You got flames on your ass, excuse my French, but you got flames on your butt and you're burning and you don't even know it. And that's what's happening with prices. That's what's happening with the stock market. It's all, you got to remember, these are corporations supposedly reflecting their value. Well, we know at 186 MACD, these are runaway evaluations. They're not real. Does anybody really believe that these companies are worth this kind of money? No, they're not. They're just propped up by toothpicks. It's all just a dog and pony show, guys. If you really want to get down to the real truth, most of the corporations in the S&P 500, they're nowhere near the value that they claim to be. They're just propped up nonsense. And this whole, they're allowed to buy back their own shares to make their earnings look good. That's just not sustainable, right? It's just total, all of it's so fake. All right, so don't be shocked. I'm saying all this not to be a Debbie Downer, and to be a pessimist. I'm just saying that at some point, I just don't think it's sustainable. I think the market's going to lose 20, 30% or more. It's going to happen. Right now, the Federal Reserve's got nothing. They're trying to hold this whole thing up with rate cuts planned in the future. What? Guys and gals, do you think measly little quarter percent rate cuts is going to do anything with the $35 trillion in debt? And you're smoking some seriously messed up weed. You're you got brain damage. Those rate cuts got nothing to do with the national debt. Absolutely nothing. It will never resolve that. That's just how affordable or unaffordable money is to borrow. It's got nothing to do with national debt. They can't fix it. Right? So they're just shooting blanks. And this thing will come crashing down at some point. I just don't know when. My guess is 2025, 26, 27 on the backside of this solar cycle. I'm telling you, you'd be surprised how things follow solar cycles. Right now, the solar cycle is working its way up. That'll happen through 2025, maybe a little into 2026 at the latest, and then it's gonna seriously start pulling back from 2026 all the way to the early 2030s. Okay, and I believe we're gonna see a massive decline in the market somewhere out there. Okay, so be prepared for that long term. I think the market and the world economy is in for a whole lot of hurting. I mean, even if President Trump or Donald Trump gets reelected as president, he may stem the tide for a little bit, right? He may deal with illegal immigration and get aggressive about that. And there's some things he may do that benefit America as opposed to the wacky leftists that have destroyed America in 3 years, in 4 years, coming up on 4 years now. And I know that a lot of people don't like Donald Trump. That's fine, whatever your political views are. But the simple fact is Biden and his clown cartel have absolutely decimated America. Everybody sees gas prices, food prices just for everything is crazy. All right. And you know what, guys and gals, there's a lot of Democrats that behind the scenes, even they don't like Biden. They don't like 10 million illegal immigrants coming in, destroying America. They just won't say it publicly, but behind the scenes, I know for a fact they're talking about it. Okay, but they can't say things out loud because they can't disenfranchise and they can't lose their friends and their family members over it, so they don't say anything. Yeah, that's how a lot of Democrats are, man. It's a wacky world they live in. You know, behind the scenes in their own private homes, they're talking about how bad Biden is, but publicly they just, they don't say anything, right? So there could be a little reprieve if Trump gets back into the White House, but I don't, not even Donald Trump is going to do, I don't think he's going to do anything about the national debt. He didn't last time, and they ignored it. The rhinos and Trump, even they, supposedly how conservative they all are, they completely ignored the national debt. They just kept on spending money. And if there was one knock against Donald Trump, it was that he didn't address the national debt at all when he had a chance. Because nobody wants to address it. And they just keep financing things that they shouldn't be financing. Mostly their own pockets, So, big trouble on the horizon, long term, probably within 24 or 36 months. I think you'll start to see some serious cracks in the army here in the United States. I'm serious. I think you're going to see some serious cracks. There's going to be some fissures. There's going to be a lot of bad things starting to happen. Things get delayed. That's a lot of times that's what happens. It takes years for things, the real consequences to play out, right? It doesn't happen in a week or two, a few months. It usually takes years. It slowly gains momentum and then it shows up, okay? And that's what's going to happen with the United States. This debt is going to crush this nation. Mark my words, crush it. All right, let's move on to the intraday charts and see where were the trades of the day. All right, here's the 5-minute chart. S&P 500 futures, guys. I mean, just look at this chart. I mean, just look at it. Let me just kind of scroll left here just a little bit. Okay, I can't get it all on one screen, so let me squish it up a little. Squish it. We're trying to go all the way back to when futures opened last night. Okay, futures opened over here, 5 o'clock last night. Because they trade, for those who don't know, futures trade 23 hours a day. So the S&P 500 futures started last night at 5 o'clock, and they've been running all night long, all the way into the morning, and all the way through intraday. Now they closed at 12 today because of July 3rd is the start of the holiday. Okay, so that's the whole day. Now take a look at this, guys. Okay, so now you see the whole day. Most of the night was just doing this. I made a little money in here, like $50, and got out. Okay. Yeah, no, $50 is $50, but whatever. So now let's just move to just, I'm kind of moving the chart here in such a way that we're just going to be looking at early morning pre-market, which, we'll call that pre-market really technically is 7:30 my time. Okay. which would be 8:30 East Coast time. But pre-market, even going back to like 5 a.m. will be, I consider pre-market. But let's just start here at 7 o'clock over here and just look all the way to noon. Okay, we're just looking at this area. All right, we're looking at it all the way down, right, including all the indicators here. So look at this big old box. All right, so just looking at the price action here, what stands out? What's unique about this entire chart? I mean, what's unique in here? Is there anything that looks unique? Right, well, this looks unique, right? Just standing there like a big old, sticking out like a, look at this thing. What the heck is that? I mean, that's unique, right? You don't see it over here. You see one back here at about 6:30, maybe something like that. But for this was intraday, because intraday and for me in Texas starts at 8:30 right here. Okay, so this was like, what time was this? This was at 8:55. All right. So that's something unique going on, right? There's something going on there. This is the Gibbs Plus indicator. And a lot of people never seen the original video about how do these indicators work. Well, this indicator, and I'll just briefly go over this really quick. This indicator is timing. That's all it is. It specifies timing. It just says now, or approximately now, is the time right here that there might be a good trade. That's all it is, timing. It doesn't provide direction. Okay, the SMI provides direction, D for direction. You can see it's directional, right? Up and down and up, and it provides direction. So does the MACD. MACD it does provide direction, but it's kind of smoothed out. Okay, so this is timing. So right here, the Gibbs Plus indicator says, hey, I think right about now is the time for a trade. That's all it's really saying. And was it? Well, it sure was. All the way to the end of the trading day. Okay, and look at this massive momentum leap. Look at this gap in the momentum. I talk about this all the time. Look at this. It's going this way. Right, so even though the SMI is peaky here, you could wait for this to do the dip. And how do you know this is very bullish? Because the patient trader, two things show up. This huge gap in momentum tells you things are positive momentum. Positive momentum. Pay attention to that. Okay? And it stays above the zero line all for like 4 hours. Okay? The seasoned trader is going to pay attention to SMI and say, okay, I see it's crossing over. I'm going to wait. And this is a really good sign that's very bullish. It never got down to the bottom line. So you just wait. It does this. It does the dip. You see it begin to roll up like that. Maybe these two candlesticks. You're in right there. It would be an excellent entry. Excellent. That is it. That's gold. You have positive momentum. Got the SMI that reversed, never hit the bottom. That is extremely bullish. And you're off to the races, baby. And even if that's all you traded was that first run up, that was about, we'll call it about 7 points. Okay, and then guess what? It dips down and it does it again. It doesn't even reach the bottom of the SMI, right? You see how it reached the bottom down here? It didn't do that here or here. That is very bullish. Okay, it starts to curl up right around in there. One of these two candlesticks, you take the trade. You don't always have to wait for a Gibbs Plus indicator. This just gets you going. And then you're in it again. And this trade would be run for probably about 5, we'll call it 6 points. Okay, so for the day, this shortened day was 13 points. That's how you trade this, guys. That's exactly, guys and gals, how you do this. You pay attention to the overall momentum. If it stays positive, then you just buy the dips on the SMI. If the thing was negative, like down here, let's say it stayed down here all day, then you would short off the peaks. Get it? It's that simple. That's how it works. Okay, 13 points, we know. We know the deal. Put a dollar sign there, ugly looking dollar sign. Add 2 zeros. $1,300 for 2 E-minis. For 1 E-mini, would be about 675, 600, and another, gosh, my math is horrible here. 600 is 12, another 100. Yeah, it's got to be 650. Okay, 650, yes, I got it. Got it, finally. So 650 for one E-mini contract, okay? And as I said many times, if you have a really small retail account, you just move the decimal place one time over. This would be $130. This would be $65. Okay? You'd be trading micros. That's the difference between E-mini ES and micros is MES. Okay? These are expensive at about $17,000 you need in your account, a little more, to take one contract. So you have to have that kind of money, okay, to trade that. So what basically happens is the broker holds your 17K while you have this position on. And once you close the position, you get your 17K back. Hey, get your money back plus your profits. Okay. For the micros, it's only $1,700. That's 1/10 the size. $1,700. Okay, sorry. Just $1,700. Okay. So the broker holds $1,700 against you temporarily. You make these trades. In this case, you would have made, let's say, $130 if you traded 2 micros. You close the position, you get back your $1,700 plus your profits. That's how futures trade. That's how you do it. It's not like options. You're basically, what I'm saying is you're trading on margin. Okay, that's what's happening. All right. So this, even on this shortened day, I hope you can see that a lot of money could still be made on a half day with lots of opportunity. It was a very bullish day, and the 5-minute chart absolutely tells you it's bullish because momentum was soaring the whole time. Okay, that's how you do it. You pay attention to the momentum, and then use the SMI to either short off the peaks or buy off the dips, especially when the dips on the SMI never reach the bottom. That is like huge bullish action. Okay. Super nice trades of the day there, guys and gals. If you want to become a member, there is a link in the description below this video. There's also a link in the top comment, the comment section of this video. It'll be pinned to the top, the very top comment, okay? So make sure you read those instructions, then click on click on the discord.com link. It's going to bring you to the Get Us server, then click on server shop, brings you to this page right here, $7.99 per month. That is a huge steal. That is a bargain. Okay. Every day I show how much, almost every day, probably like 95% of the time, there's money to be made in the market. Maybe even higher, 97% of the time. Even on small days like today, there was money to be made. The streaming charts are down here. So we looked at the 5-minute chart today on the trade of the day. There's also a 15-minute and a 1-hour chart that gets streamed live 23 hours a day. Okay, those futures are streaming all the time. Okay, so you can just click on down here when you join, you get the streaming charts. Really nice. There's cycles, which you'll learn about those. The longer you remember, you'll figure out the cycles, but there's cycles on the 1-hour chart. That's super nice. The cycles are often very accurate. That'll help you time your trades, okay? When you join, ask me in the member chat, hey, Get Us, where is the new members video? I'll give you the link for it. Okay, you can just hit me up in there and say, I need a new members video, and I'll give you the link. You can also ask me for the link for the gold streaming charts, because I also provide streaming charts for gold. And I have members that trade gold almost every day. I traded gold 2-3 days ago, made $700. Okay, so if you want to look at that product, you can trade that product too. Both of those, when we looked at the trade of the day in the video today on the 5-minute chart, we saw the Get Us Plus indicator. Well, that sends an alert. Whenever that gets triggered, sends an alert over to this channel here. So if you want to track the alerts, just click on S&P 500 alerts and turn notifications on. You can do the same thing for gold. All right. Every night an email goes out, Monday through Thursday. So if you want to get on the email list, which you should, put your email in here. Put your email address in there, okay? You're going to get 5 charts every night. Plus you get a short description or comment my opinion about the market. Okay, the 5 charts are the weekly and daily S&P 500 futures chart, and then you get 3 2-hour directional charts, really nice charts. That's the S&P 5 SPX, which is the S&P 500, the NDX, which is the NASDAQ, and the RUT, which is the Russell 2000. Those are 2-hour charts. They have a directional indicator on there. They really help you keep your direction, keep you in the trade, keep you pointing in the right direction. That's really good for swing traders. If you want to do some swing trading, very helpful. I use it a lot. I use the 2-hour charts for swing trades a lot. I traded the Russell 2000 about a week ago. I was trading for like a couple weeks, just using the 2-hour chart, trading the Russell 2000 because it was just constantly going down. So I took advantage of the Russell 2000 pulling back. Okay, so those charts are super handy. So get on the email list because you're gonna be glad you did when you get the email each night. Okay, premium symbols. I put symbols in here every day. There's industry symbols are in there. There's optional stocks in there. There's futures in there. I think I saw some currency futures in there today. I saw maybe some soybeans, some other products that were in the futures. So for those that trade futures, you might want to check that out. There's also shorts are in there as well. A lot of good symbols in there. Okay. Fixed income, this channel here. I parlay my profits often into corporate bonds. So if you want to know what corporate bonds I'm buying, you can check it out. I've just posted some in there last week. Okay. And my opinion is it's a good idea to take your profits and parlay it into something. You know, don't just let the cash sit in your account. People think, oh, I got more cash now. My account's bigger. I'll trade bigger. It's better to parlay your profits into something called an investment. So you've got trading, T for trading, you got investing. You take your trading profits and you move them into investments. Okay, that's how it works. This keeps building up over time, bigger and bigger and bigger. Okay. Why do you do that? Because when you have losses in your trading, which is going to happen, it doesn't affect your investments. Those are long term. You don't dip into this, you don't liquidate them, you don't sell them. Okay. You don't do any of that. You just stay there. That could be rental real estate property. That could be like me, corporate bonds. Maybe you could have a business. You're going to finance your own business, whatever. You should be thinking about how do you parlay your profits from trading into investments. There's other way. There's corporate notes. Yeah, notes. They're off market. They're actually private. I don't want to say private, but they're not notes that you would trade in the open market. You trade them directly with the issuer. Okay, they exist. You'd be surprised how many opportunities are out there. You just got to find them. There's, not that I'm promoting this, but there's CPS notes. Okay, they're returning like 9.5% right now. Well, if you have enough money, they are. The lower percentages are like 8%. Now, I'm not advocating this and telling you to go trade this or buy these notes. I'm just saying you'd be surprised what's available out there if you really take the time to dig in. Okay, so I just mentioned several ways you can take your trading profits and move it into investments, right? Corporate bonds, rental real estate property you might buy, something like some corporate notes, okay? They're really, they're a different level of risk that you need to take that into consideration, but they're there. Okay, there's a lot of different places you can put your money to work for you, is what the point is. You can't just, you don't want to just have just money churning in your trading account. Okay, you got to learn to do something with it. And whatever you do with it, don't take it back out. All right. I put a video out probably a few weeks ago about the most important thing you could ever do, especially as a young person, is to get a job that has a 401k and the employer contributes to your 401k. They match your contribution. That is the absolute best thing you could do as a young person. Find a job with a 401 where the employee contributes, and you want to put your absolute maximum allowed into your 401k. A lot of people, oh no, I need my money. Stop being Stop being slow and put from your paycheck, put the maximum amount into your 401k. And then your employer will match up to the maximum that they're going to match. Okay. And within 10 years, your 401k is going to be huge. And guess what? It's tax sheltered. You don't pay taxes. No tax. And that really makes a big difference as you get older. Okay, this is the number one thing you can do as a young person. Get a job with the 401k and make sure that not just any old 401k, a 401k where their employer contributes to the 401k. Okay, you want to be going for the maximum salary. You want the biggest salary you can get in negotiating when you get hired. And you're looking for employers that pay high amounts into the 401k, high percentage. That you can do the research, it's out there. Take your time, figure it out, get a job at a good company paying the 401k. All right? That's the number one thing you do as a young person. Okay, the money that goes into your 401k, you should never touch it, ever. Don't touch it. Just let it build. Okay, that pretty much covers it. The rules, read the rules. There's refund rules in there. There is a disclaimer that I'm not a financial advisor. Everything on this server, no matter if it's me or anybody else, is strictly educational purposes only. Okay, you must be responsible for your own trading. This service, I honestly believe, in my humble opinion, will help you make bank if you're patient. Okay, but you've got to be responsible for the trades. Okay, this way it's going to help you become a better trader. Use the service to your advantage. All right. And lastly is don't be a troll. When you join, be nice, be respectful. Don't come in here trying to be a big shot, telling everybody what to do. Okay, just be calm. Enjoy the service. All right. Don't be a jerk. If you start being a problem, I'm going to delete your junk. I don't want to have to kick or ban you, but if you're going to be a real troll, you're going to face the consequences. All right. So just come and join. Enjoy the environment. Make some money. Okay. That's it. Happy trading, everybody. God bless everybody. Talk to all real soon again next time.